Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video. And tonight, what I'm going to do is talk about all the books I read in the month of November and finished in December, and a book I'm busy reading right now. So stay tuned. Okay everyone, I'm kind of happy to see the back of November, but the good thing is that I've read some pretty good books, actually one or two really good books, and so yeah, I'm going to share that with you tonight. Let's start off first of all with what I have been reading, or what I'm reading at the moment, and that is Calvin Demmer, Through the Ravenous Night We Ride. And that's the fourth collection I've read from him, all that I'm reading, and I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. And as always, there's a couple of standout stories. There's one story in here called Heartless. What was the other one? Faster. Yeah, there are a couple of really good stories in here. And this particular collection is all about secret societies, serial killers, malevolent criminals, and other evils stalk these pages. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, but I'll talk about it more when I'm done. So yeah, that is Through the Ravenous Night We Ride. Okay, and I'm not going to do these books in any particular order, except first of all, there's a readathon that I love taking part in, and that's a Cryptid readathon. And it's all about cryptids, different kinds of cryptids, monsters. And the host for this readathon is Jason from Jason's Weird Reads, Sin from Sin's Book Nook, and Crystal from Fiber Artsy. And I read 2 books for this particular readathon. And I'm going to go through my least favorite first, and that is To the Devil, a Cryptid by, I think it's Hunter Shea. Now this was quick and easy, kind of gory, with a lot of fun. It's about this satanic ritual that takes place in this wood outside a small town. This wood is kind of infamous for this goat man. And yeah, the ritual goes completely wrong, and this demonic goat man starts running amok in a small town, destroying everyone. A lot of blood and guts. It's very gory, and it's fun. But that's all I really can say about it. It's just okay. It's just a fun read. Because the characters, I like stories where the characters are developed up to the point where I care about them. And you feel for the characters. In this particular book, even though it's only a novella, I couldn't give a rat's ass about some of these characters. That we're supposed to try and stop this cryptid or whatever. But the storyline was kind of weak. It was all about just the fun and the gore. But yeah, the characters are completely forgettable, and I don't like that in a book. So yeah, that is it. To the Devil, the Cryptid. Yeah. Okay, and the second cryptid book I read was so much better, and this was The Attack on Sasquatch Valley by Jason White. Yes, our very own Jason White from Jason's Weird Reads. And this was an awesome book. I really had a lot of fun with it. It's a collection of 4 short stories, all looking at Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And you would think that there'd be a little bit of a sameness about it in terms of the setting, Bigfoot in the woods and in the snow. But all 4 stories were really good, really fun, and unlike the first book I talked about, I love the characters, you care about them, and just the writing of the atmosphere, of the setting. You really feel like you're on the edge of wilderness in some of these stories, hearing the sounds out there of the coyotes, bears, can't remember. But anyway, it's just so well written, and some of them were better than others. I think the third story, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's this family, and they're driving, and it's a snowstorm, driving through the woods, and the father's an absolute arsehole. He's totally abusive, and yeah, they have a crash. I'm not going to tell you anything more about that, but this book is just superb. The story is superb. for a short story, it's so tense. He just ratchets up the tension in the story. And yeah, it's suspenseful and fun. And I was rooting for this mom. It's just, yeah, awesome. And I love the fourth book as well. It just brought all the stories together. And had a bit of a kind of an emotional side as well. Sort of feel. Yeah, I'm just I really enjoyed this collection. And came very close to being 5 stars. I think just because maybe for me the first 2 stories were slightly weaker, but it's still highly recommended. And that is Attack on Sasquatch Valley. Okay, and I finished off this collection of 3 stories, 3 scary stories to tell in the dark. And I read the third one, which is Scary Stories 3, More Tales to Chill Your Bones. And yeah, I kind of needed this. And it's middle grade, people, and it's illustrated. Awesome illustrations, nightmare stuff. And I kind of needed it. You know, after reading some adult material sometimes, adult books, I just need something to just get you back into the kind of reading mood. Because I felt like I was moving into a slump. And this kind of took me out of it. It's just short stories with beautiful illustrations. So yeah, and it's all I can say about it really. It's a really good fun, and the illustrations make the collection, as they did for the first 2 as well. So that's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Okay, next up I read Edifice Complex by Michael Wurtenberg. He has an awesome channel, people, you need to check him out. And yeah, I've already spoken about this book earlier on in November, but it's kind of depraved. And it's about this man, the protagonist, who has a hypersensitivity to noise. And he moves into his brother's apartment, and he develops like this kind of erotic, sort of sexual, kind of obsessive relationship with this building. The curves of the building, you know, thick walls that keep out the noise. Damn those neighbours that keep making noises, and their cell phones in the corridors, and all these people. And what I love about this book is just that you're inside this character's head, and you kind of feel for him. He gets you to sympathize with him, but he really goes on a journey into the realms of madness, and this book goes to really kind of twisted places. And you know, this whole relationship with this building, I can see, maybe if you have not read Clive Barker you will not see, but I can see that this book and some of the content in this book is inspired by Michael's love for Clive Barker, because Clive Barker does really twisted things as well, and he's writing sexual things like sex, the relationship between sex and pain and sex and death. And I think Michael was kind of inspired by that. You can see that in this book. But yeah, it's highly recommended. It's set very much in Paris, and I think the only thing for me sometimes is that in terms of the setting, it could have been a bit more varied. But the fact that it's set in Paris and primarily in this building, yeah, it's still a very, very good read, and I highly recommend it. So yeah, Michael Wurtenberg, The Edifice Complex. Okay, next up we got Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Now I'm going to be doing a live with Nikhil from Esteem on this particular novel, and I have to say that I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a beautiful book, but there are 1 or 2 problems that I'll get to just now. But what is it about? It's about this 16, 17-year-old boy called Charlie, and he lives with his dad. His mom died very young in an accident. Dad became an alcoholic, turned things around, but that's not important right now. What's important is that he ends up saving this old recluse kind of guy up on top of a hill in this big house. And this big house is nicknamed the Psycho House. And this guy's also got a big dog, a German Shepherd. And by saving this guy, he starts developing this relationship. He takes care of this guy. You know, he kind of leaves the football team at school, and he starts focusing on building this guy up again. And yeah, he learns that there's a shed out back. A shed that has a portal to another world, people. And yeah, that's where Fairy Tale comes into it. and obviously he's going to go in there sooner or later. But the first half of the book, first sort of a third of the book, is about the relationships that he develops with this guy and this dog, the beautiful dog. I can't remember its name now, sorry. But yeah, they kind of grow, and there's a bond there. And he learns about the shedding, he learns about the world. And yeah, wow, that first third of the book sounds like more like just a human thing, and it is, and it's 5 stars. It is phenomenal writing. The way you grow attached to these characters, just insane. He does it so well. And then in the beginning of the second third, you kind of go into this little portal, and you see this world. And I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to spoil it. You know, it's better to experience it, yeah, for yourselves. And the first part of it is really awesome. And all I will say is that this fairy tale world alludes, Stephen King does this in all his books, he drops little kind of magic things everywhere, and alludes to all sorts of other fairy tales that we know about, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I know he, in one scene, he talks, this one thing, talks about something wicked this way comes, something that happens in that book. It's just so awesome. So yeah, the problem I had is that the first third, or even the first half, because I love the world, but the first half was 5 stars. It's just, couldn't put it down. And then it got to certain places in the second half of the book, just like certain settings, certain scenes that just dragged. Kind of came to a bit of a stop, a bit of a stall, and I was saying, come on Stevie, keep going with the story, you know. I kind of stuck in the one scene, so it just dragged a bit, but I still loved it. I got through the whole book. I gave it 4 stars just for that, but I think on a reread I might appreciate it more, give it 5 stars. It's just a beautiful book. So that is Fairy Tale. And join us, because we will go in depth into that book, Nikhil and I, when we talk about it, which might be next weekend. Stay tuned for that. Next up, we have our Fright Club pick for November, which is The Night Parade by Ronald Mulvey. And our Crits and I, tomorrow night, people are going to be doing a live discussion of this on Crits' channel. You need to tune in. And yeah, we're going to talk about this book, and we're going to go in depth about this book. So I don't really want to say too much about it here. It's basically just a basic outline of the plot. So what you have, at the beginning of the novel, you've got this father and this daughter who are on the run in a stolen car. And they're running through a world, not just gone mad, but a dying world. And there's this disease called Wanderer's Folly that drives you mad, makes you hallucinate, makes you think you're seeing things, excuse me, and yeah, and then you die in horrible ways. Sometimes you do it yourself, well, actually most of the time, but a very good book. I was very impressed with the writing. You're really drawn in to the characters and this world, and this focuses on the father and the daughter. It's kind of a very emotional, kind of complex relationship between the two of them. Because you see what's happened, and this is not a spoiler because we know this from the beginning, that the mom has died, and the father is fleeing something. And so you will learn about all of what happens there. And the daughter's distrustful, but she's also very special. You're going to learn all about that. I think if I had one problem with the novel, is maybe for the first a quarter of the novel, I got a little bit irritated the fact that there was just constant flashbacks. So you got this father and daughter driving through this world, apocalyptic world. It's not a post-apocalyptic world. There's still signs of civilization and things still function. But then you kind of, things get ramped up. The suspense gets ratcheted up. I don't even know if that's a word. And then the next chapter you go back, flashback to the mother and what happened to her. And I kind of got a little bit irritated at that. But after a while it all kind of made sense. And it's kind of started coming together. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I don't really want to say much more because, yeah, Chris and I are going to have a good time chatting about this book tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that. And finally, I read a little short story that I've been trying to read for a long time, couldn't find it anywhere. And that is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. I bought The Greatest Sex People on my Kindle. And I had to read the story. And it has to be possibly one of the most disturbing, horrifying stories I've ever read. It might top the list. Wow. And it's set like kind of 100 and something years after mankind has been wiped out. Because mankind invented this master computer called sort of built to destroy things, built for war, and was full of hatred for the entire mankind, so wiped out mankind. But saved 5 people because the computer wanted to torture them for all eternity over and over again in horrible ways. That's this book, people. And yeah, it's chilling, it's disturbing, and it's so well written, and I'd highly recommend to get your hands on it. So yeah, that's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Poor soul. Okay everyone, so that's my November done and dusted, thank goodness. Now I can focus on December and the new year. Now I'm feeling a lot better. So let me know down below, comments down below, if you've read any of these books. What have you thought about them? Let me know what you're reading. And yeah, also be sure to tune in to Cryptid's channel tomorrow night, and into Nikhil's channel. I think he's hosting. I'll let you know. Check out my community page. But yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves, keep those pages turning, and cheers.